getting your startups. the range of the enemies.
Here's one of the things that I don't actually like 100% with the bans that I've noticed, and that's that they let Daniela's Jinx go through. And this has been something really overlooked on the stats pages. That's that while Aether Esports was unfortunately rocking in the top deaths, they were also rocking in the top KDAs in week 1, and that was solely on Daniela's Jinx here that has managed to go through in pick bans, and so far it looks like Aether have a pretty good comp to work around that pack.
With the Jarvan keeping them within range of the Jinx rockets, they can't really run away from her. Again, with the Malzahar too, lockdown, so she can run around the fight. Picking people off is a really good composition.
On the side of Naughty Nips, though, we're seeing some pretty hard-to-kill champions. Vladimir, Sejuani, and above all else, Tarek for Barbie's Naughty, who has yet to meet a single death in the BSGCS.
Something to keep in mind is the Tarek ultimate can give that Vladimir those extra couple seconds to get one of his abilities off that can keep him alive for an even extended period of time, so that's some good synergy between the support and what's assumed to be top lane.
Absolutely. Looking at the ban coming in for Naughty Nips, the Thresh away from Bishop is a good ban indeed, as that has been one of the champions he's been playing a lot to relative success as well. Azir taken away from Omen here. Also one of the Starlight players on Naughty Nips, ranking pretty high on the KDA section himself.
Since Azir is solely a mid lane champion, it tells me that Aether is looking for that Vladimir to definitely be top lane and not mid lane.
But you think it's going to be flexed in the mid lane by Naughty Nips?
I'm not sure at this point, because Omen is known to play Vladimir, and I'm not sure if we've seen GVG play Vladimir, but Vladimir does pretty well top lane too, so it could go either way.
See how that turns out indeed. Gnar the Hover and Lock-in for a Dway in the top lane. Hopefully he will know the way in this matchup. He'll certainly need to know it for sure against one of the seasoned veterans and returning champions, GVG in the house in the top lane.
Again, continuing along that line of hard-to-kill champions, Xayah with her ultimate can keep herself alive even longer, so what we're looking shaping up is a very heavy engaged side from Aether and a very defensive and survivability coming out of NN, Naughty Nips.
Absolutely, and the last pick for NN and Naughty Nips while we're at it, as the clock ticks down, will be a Trundle for GVG in the top lane. Perhaps a little bit of a misread by Aether, possibly?
Yeah, the wasted Azir ban could come back to bite them later on.
Possibly so. Bishop hovering over the Rakan pickup, that would do their comp pretty good, but so would Janna.
With all of the engage they have, they would have been lacking in really good disengage, so that Janna really nicely fills in that slot, being able to be a team disengage.
But is that disengage enough? Monsoon is a really good disengage, but not if the Glacial Prison's thrown on top of you, really.
Tarek's stun and Glacial Prison will be able to catch people out pretty easily, in addition to a Trundle Pillar behind someone, slowing them and keeping them there. It really depends on if they land those pick abilities. If they land those pick abilities, I think Aether's best bet would just kind of leave them to dry and make their way out. But if they get jumped on as a team, Vladimir really wants to get into the center. So does Trundle, and so that Monsoon can keep both of them out of the middle of the team, which is really nice.
If we're looking at team comps and you had to pick a favorite, who's you liking more right now?
I feel like I'm leaning more towards Naughty Nips team comp, because while Aether does come with a lot of engage, their engage is negated by Vladimir W or Tarek's stun, Xayah's ult, so they can engage, but I think a lot of the times when they do engage, it just ends up with a null card. They don't really get anything for it, and so that's why I would lean more towards NN.
I'm liking No Nips' comp. They have a lot of, as I said, hard to kill. In fact, every single one of the members has some ability through either base stats or through the abilities themselves. You know, durability. Vladimir has his heals, Zaya has her ultimate, Tara gives everyone the Cosmic Radiance, which literally says, my team can do whatever they want for 2 seconds and not get punished for it at all. Trundle has Subjugate. Sejuani's base stats are just naturally tanky, so she's going to be hard to run through. So I'm liking what Nips have. However, in the defensive Aether, I feel like if they're able to correctly pile the resources on towards Daniela's Jinx here, it's going to be really scary if we can see this pick rolling.
Mm-hmm. Malzahar opted to take TP over Ignite in the mid lane, so it's going to be really critical for them to get some sort of healing debuff going, unless Vladimir stays behind. But if Vladimir gets rolling, then they should make sure to grab one of those.
Alright. Looking at the jungle focus out of Barcode on this Sejuani here, who do we think he's gonna focus?
I think the bot lane has quite a bit of disengage, and the Gnar has his hop. So while Malzahar has his passive shield, he doesn't have much movement, so I think we'll see a mid lane focus out of the Sejuani.
So you're feeling that they don't have to expend too many resources towards the bottom lane in the early game?
I think in the early game, bottom lane's safe with the Janna against the 2v2. So if the Jinx does a good job of CSing while not being zoned off by the Taric, I think that bot lane will be situated just fine to roll on into the late game, and maybe hyper carry as Jinx as a few kills roll in.
But on the side of Nips, I feel, on my end of things at least, that you want to shut that down as soon as possible. And even though Sejuani isn't the greatest early game ganker, she's not notorious for that whatsoever, I still think that would be an expected focus if the Jinx and Janna bot lane pushes up a little too far.
I would definitely agree that if Sejuani can get ganks off, if they're overextended, absolutely. Just have to be aware of the Janna disengage and shields kind of negating some of that.
We will now be heading over to the loading screen where, if anything weird or usual is picked up by the players for the runes they've picked, we'll see exactly what that weird or normal just so is. I don't think we'll see anything weird.
I feel like both teams will go pretty standard, like you said.
Yeah. Alright. Checking stock up here. It looks like just about... Wait, what? Well, that's a new one, I believe, for the Jinx. Interesting.
Allows her to stick through her targets better than other summoners or other keystones would be able to. So I understand the thought process behind it.
But do you agree with that?
I feel like Jinx likes to hyper carry and likes to rely on her teammates more for locking them down with a Malzahar ult or Jarvan ult, or even a Janna tornado keeping them there for a couple seconds. So I would rather see Jinx running a more damage focused keystone over the inspiration.
Well, there are a few good damage-focused keystones, like Pound of the Attack, Lethal Tempo. If you're feeling fancy, Fleet of Footwork, which one would you go with on this matchup instead?
I think I just like to see Lethal Tempo on Jinx. She already has so many attack speed steroids that stacking that on and allowing her to break the cap even more often can allow her to really get in a lot of crits with her machine gun, which can tear through enemies. Another thing to notice on the loading screen was Malzahar opted not to take Spellbook, which is fairly common on Malzahar, and instead decided for the more poke-oriented Ahri. So that's something to keep in mind, that his summoner spells will not be on reduced cooldown.
See, a little bit of not exactly the META on this one for Aether Esports. Changing up a little bit, see where it goes. As we see a total of 5 stopwatches picked up. I'm happy about that. Very happy. Because whenever I see 10 stopwatches, I feel really conflicted, and I think you don't need this. You don't. I feel for the stopwatches that are on the champions that have it picked up. I think it is right. Would you agree?
The bot lane, the ADCs, really, you don't want your ADCs dying early, so that makes sense. Mid lane, Vladimir, once again, the more invulnerability you can have on him, the longer he has to get off that empowered Q and bring himself back to life and escape sticky situations, so I agree with that. And as far as the Jarvan goes, he's going to be trying to get in on those ganks and even tower diving, so yeah, I agree with all the stopwatches on the map.
Alright. Good stuff coming out of these players. No one going for the ambitious invade necessarily. The furthest we're going to get from that is Dway putting a ward down in the jungle.
Pretty much standard starting items so far. We've got our standard supports for melee versus caster.
Absolutely the case. Looking at the matchup here, there's been a lot of trash talk coming out of these two, not necessarily these two teams, but out of Noinips in particular. Wondering how much they can back that up, as we notice Barcode in the jungle, no longer a future mailman. He was from the future, one might say, and is no longer with us, as he's the time machine's broken. So we'll see how Barcode can do on this pickup here. Additionally, while one might be deceived of a new player, AD carry on Noinips, seriously has just changed his name to Bloodshot. They still have the same ADC.
Speaking for trash talk, Omen has been recently called a...
While we're on with Omen, he's getting jumped on the mid lane, forced to flash away automatically.
That'll be a nice pickup come level 6, if his flash is still down at that point in time, for a nice gank by Jarvan and Malzahar.
Pretty good stuff, catching him off guard when he just feels like it's safe in the early game farming, and from a relatively unconventional angle as well.
Sejuani trying to get it.
Looking for a gank here, but the mid laner is not there at all. So it's just going to be Barcode right on top of Ireckless, doing some good work too, and might be able to pick up a solo kill here. The Flash Flail will be able to do the work, as the damage isn't going to be able to follow afterwards from the Jarvan. What in the world just happened?
And that red buff on Sejuani that she picked up early, as it just wore off on her, was able to get so much slowdown on Malzahar without any movement that there was nothing he could do. He tried flashing away, but then the Sejuani just followed. It was the difference in movement speed because of that slow that really made the difference there.
Really aggressive stuff for a Sejuani in the early game, flashing underneath the turret to get the flail kill, but it's some good stuff out of Noinips either way, as they pick up the first blood.
Trundle with a slight HP advantage and minion lead over Gnar currently.
Other than the mid lane incident that just happened, things are relatively pretty calm. Bot lane, just about even CS. Mid lane slightly going in favor of our Reckless on this Malzahar pickup, and top lane looking like it's starting to thin out as well.
It'll be interesting watching the rest of the game, how it progresses, since Ireckless is known to play Fizz, how he's going to play on a control mage instead.
Definitely an interesting shift on champion playstyles there, but what I'm a little more interested in is the Mountain Dragon that's on the cards right now. When do we think that's going to be taken?
I think Sejuani's looking at that right now after getting the first blood. She's backed and got her warding finished. So I think NN's gonna be looking to put pressure around that Drake, get some ward vision around it pretty soon. Damage values I feel are still a little bit low right now, so I'm looking in the next couple minutes for NN to start positioning more around that dragon.
Next couple of minutes. Alright, fair enough. There are a few times where the dragon, regardless of if it's a cloud dragon or an ocean dragon, it's up for 17 minutes, and it's not too good. I feel if it's 17 minutes in the dragon's not taken, then both teams are making a big mistake.
Usually there's an opening. Oh.
While we're on it with openings, thank you for the segue there, my friend. Barcode's looking to get GVG a kill through that opening. 9-ups 2-0 on the board, 6 minutes in.
And there's openings like maybe the top lane dying, where pressure on the dragon can absolutely happen. Especially if Gnar decides to use his TP to get back to lane. Something like that could easily create the pressure for a dragon, which would be a mistake if the team was not able to capitalize on that.
Would be a mistake indeed. It looks like he will not opt for the teleport into the lane. Chooses to lose out on the minions instead. Fair enough, to say the very least.
Over the long... Oh. Go.
Right, no, you first.
Over the long run, I feel like that's the smart decision, because keeping TP even and preventing something like a Mountain Drake is going to be worth much more in the late game than a couple of CS, so I definitely agree with that decision.
Alright. I was about to ask you about that, in fact. You've read my mind, Aquatic Dark.
Amazing.
But what I was also going to ask you about was the top lane incident that just happened. Do you feel that that was because of the lack of vision, or over pushing a little bit? Like, what exactly caused the way to get himself in that sticky situation right there?
Well, Trundle has been shoved up the whole time, but in that case, Gnar had shoved up, so Trundle most likely called for a gank and then allowed the lane to push back towards him. I think Gnar's unawareness of where the lane was headed, and he kind of just moved with the lane, putting him in a bad position to where Sejuani could gank behind him, especially considering he's on red side with a tri-brush, which opens him up to ganks more than if he would be on blue side.
While we're looking at it for ganks, Ihi is making his way up in the top lane here. Maybe looking for a lane gank. Gets spun out by the pings, though, from the looks of it.
And Trundle's actually been able to maintain his CS lead, despite being a melee versus ranged matchup.
Looks like they might be going on this one. No, it's just GVG takes the worst end of that trade against Dewey.
Something to keep in mind is Gnar usually pushes more or focuses more on HP stats and damage stats over raw armor and MR values, leaving Trundle a little bit worse for wear when he tries to steal those.
While we're stealing those, Aether Esports sending 4 people in the bottom lane. Reckless on the back half, but no nips are more than safe, which lets Omen push out the mid lane just a little bit.
And that's where coming to play with your defensive team comp, both Xayah had her ult and Taric had his ult, allowing them to feel very safe despite there being 4 bot lane.
A little too transparent out of Aether Esports to put it one way, that they were looking for the gank. Dragon now pinged by Aether. They know they have 4 people in that position already. May as well make the best of it as the Mountain Dragon is getting focused down. And along with Barcode being on the other side of the map, it looks like it will be able to be secured by Aether Esports. Nothing to possibly steal it away. A Dazzle's all that's gonna get them hurt as Daniela picks it up.
And that's perfect, because if you look at the TP values right now, Dewey has his up, allowing them to have pressure on the dragon, or versus GVG must have used his to get back to lane. So that, in addition to the jungler being on top side, was a perfect opportunity to take the dragon.
Definitely the case up top lane. GVG is angry, and more than angry enough to force the flash out of the fear from Dewey.
I don't know if GVG using Subjugate there could have netted him that kill, but it would be something interesting to look at.
A possibility, but GVG, not known to be a tower diving man, plays it safe and sorry on this one and gets the flash for nothing. Also, worth pointing out here, CS scores 10 minutes in, which we hit the 11-minute marker. In fact, 101 CS for Daniela on this Jinx here, and starting to get a little bit of a lead over Bloodshot.
Zaya's both ADCs are focused heavily around the late game, but Zaya suffers more early game than I believe Jinx does. So that would make sense why the CS differences are what they are.
Yeah, and overall a very quiet game, in fact. I'd expect this one to be a lot louder in favor of one of the teams, but it's just a 2-0 for Anonynips and nothing more to come of it.
The Sejuani has made some good plays this game, but the Jarvan's really the one you would be looking for to be making some serious ganks happen towards the early game, and especially towards level 6. So maybe a bit of nervousness or a bit of missed plays that could have happened from the side of Aether.
I find that interesting. The Rift Herald shouldn't be able to walk up that far. I don't think Shelly should be allowed to do that, but she does nonetheless. Hover towards the mid lane. Looks like Omen wants a piece of iReckless here. Gets the better half of the trade, even though the Voidlings are there.
Shelly does indeed have a surprisingly long range. I remember once I was taking blue buff, and the enemy led her right to me and died. And I was very surprised.
Almador with blue buff, in fact. A steal's not going to happen for Barcode today as Ihi gets wanked on, but 3 members of Aether Esports are on the chase. There's the Cosmic Radiance to try and save the teammate. No resets to come yet through for Daniela. The Death Rocket comes through and will get the kill to follow through, but the flash away. Daniela's in trouble. Will she be able to get? Yes, she will, but the same can't be said for Jara on this one. Dived underneath the turret. Golden stopwatch looks good, but not good enough as Bloodshot picks up the kill.
And it's a 1 for 3, in fact, in favor of NN. And that mainly has to do with the TP discrepancy once again, allowing GVG to get down in the bot lane while Gnar was left to push the turret. Assuming this nets them a first blood turret, that was a very good play.
Which it does net them the turret indeed, so it is a very good play as they get the gold lead, but Dway has been knocking on the top lane turret, and from the looks of it, he will be able to get it as well.
So a trade for turrets, but first blood turret going over to Naughty Nips, and a couple more kills, giving them a much larger gold advantage from that than the trade turret on the opposite side.
Actually, wait. Oh, never mind. Wait. Oh, never mind. I got a little confused for a second, thinking that there weren't any boots on Daniela, but then I remembered that they updated the graphics. Caught me by surprise for a second. So we have it over towards the mid lane, where iReckless has taken the worst end of the trades for sure against Omen.
And you see those magical boots on ADCs, because the free gold, in essence, from them not having to buy boots is so useful for getting their damage items out and getting ahead early.
You know, looking at this mid lane matchup, I find it a little tricky for iReckless to try and make something happen. He's got Omen as QSS, and clearly these trades are not going in his favor whatsoever. Is there anything he can really do in the laning phase in a 1v1 against Omen here?
He really just needs to continuously shove while trying to maintain his safety, because Vladimir doesn't have amazing wave clear underneath the turret to get those last CS. But like I said, that's kind of hard to do considering you don't have any mobility spells, and your second summoner decided for a TP instead of something like maybe a ghost or a heal.
While we're at it with turrets, there's a lot of damage on the bottom lane turret and a lot of damage on iReckless. Will not be able to get out as the QSS for a moment secures it. He will be fine as the rest of Aether Esports, though. They're going to be able to pick up the Rift Herald as the consolation prize for that.
Yeah, the Sejuani was bot lane doing something, so going for that Rift Herald there makes sense.
Dway might be looking for a kill on towards GVG here. Pops the Subjugate, looks for the 3-hit, looks to get it again. GVG, though, is an absolute monster and takes a chomp out of him, gets his kill, and that is 7-1 for Noyneps.
TP comes in from Malzahar looking to defend this top tier turret.
Oh no. Alright, that's fine. I thought that they were going to dive, which they very much could have with Cosmic Radiance being up, but it is still the teleport out of our Reckless to defend the turret, and it seems like it's working so far.
Nara's gonna try and run down bot lane to match GVG again, but has to be careful of the same scenario repeating itself, as GVG with the 2-kill lead over him, and almost 30 CS has a significant gold advantage over Nar.
Looking at the gold advantage right now, 3k for Noyneps, and that could escalate very quickly. In fact, it might just in a second. Barcode on the side looking for Glacial Prison, not gonna land it, which means I can get back to my question. What do you think Aether needs to do to not let that gold lead accelerate so much?
I mean, honestly, stop bleeding kills like that one. You gotta play so carefully right now, because taking advantages is what your team does. But if you keep getting caught out one by one, you'll never get to the point where you have the damage to make those engages happen.
Definitely something you do not want to do is get caught out like that. Warding is always dangerous, and Noyneps are going to be equaling the Mountain Dragon count for themselves this time around, picking up their first, unless Dway can steal. Won't be able to. There's the Death Rocket, not going to make it happen though. Chomper's thrown down defensively by Aether, and they have to back off.
Going back to what you said, for what they can do to slow the gold lead down, the Jinx does have a slight advantage over at least neutral, maybe not over her opponent, but the 10 CS up and 1 kill does allow her to have a bit more leeway and has the damage to actually damage members of NN. So really protecting her in these team fights I think is going to be critical.
Currently looking at the gold values, Danielle, sitting at 2,000, roughly close enough for that Infinity Edge to come up soon. That's going to be a big purchase for Aether when they're able to get it.
And GVG just got his Trinity Force completed, so he's going to be very, very hard to beat right now. They're sending 2 members top lane for him.
We'll see how well GVG can fare on his own against a Gnar and a Jarvan here. A 1v2, level 12, higher than both of his opponents on this one. The Pillar's not going to land, but the Jerry 4 combo will, and he gets taken out, pummeled into the ground. Aether Esports picking up their second kill of this match. You feel like GVG knew he was a dead man on that?
I think he wanted to take his best shot. The Jarvan damage is still pretty high despite being 0-1. So yeah, I would expect he knew what was happening there.
Alright, while we'll look at it with being a dead man, a lot of ultimates just got thrown down in the mid lane. Cosmic Radiance thrown down by Barry's to make sure that her team is able to survive that ambitious dive that isn't able to pick up a kill, but Rift Herald, ooh, that's just animal abuse right there. I mean, I understand it was probably that panic usage, but I mean, come on. That's animal abuse, you just wasted Shelly.
I can understand if it was a Lee Sin trying to ward hop, but that was just a disgusting waste of a very huge advantage.
Yeah, not the hottest way to use your consolation prize from earlier. Still, though, the gold isn't drastic. It's only 3,000, just a little more for Noyneps here. So even though the 8-2 score may tell you the gold's a little higher, it isn't exactly so.
And they are tied 1-1 for Dragon, so it's not like one team has been monopolizing the Dragon so far this game. So.
Looking at the map right now, GVG pushing down in the bottom lane. Feel like he's going to be able to get that tower on his own?
Not with Jarvan and Gnar rotating there. Same thing will probably happen as if we just go back to top lane. Let's see if GVG can play it out even better this time or just decides to back off.
Backing off, I think, would be the better play in this case. Most of Aether in position to rotate over there if need be, and with the lack of pressure out of the mid lane from Noinips, it is possible. They might be looking for a play here on Barbie's Nori. That KDA might just begin ruined here. Maybe not, as the Monsoon blows her back. Zap's not going to be able to land either. Barbie's keeps her KDA once again as the teleport comes through at a GVG. Where's the pillar? There it is. Glacial Prison right afterwards. Bishop goes down diagonally at that. As a bit of more damage onto Ironclus, will be able to secure another kill. Blast Cone only looks so good as Bloodshot picks up the kill. Now GVG picking up the double kill and flashing away from that one. Omen's going to be able to pick up a kill in Sanguine Pool. And that is 4 kills for 0 for Noinips as they fire off in the mid lane.
The Vladimir's very fed right now. The Trundle's very fed. The Zaya's ahead. It's going to be a very tough call to be able to survive all the damage coming out from Vladimir and Zaya while also dealing with the Trundle, who's not only dealing a lot of damage, but also very hard to kill.
And very interesting move we just saw by Noinips. They choose not to go for the inhibitor even though they have more than enough time to go for it. They're going to go for the Baron Nashor instead. 5 seconds on Jarvan's respawn here. This looks like this might have just been the better move.
I'm not sure if Aether was even aware or if they just decided to give up on that play, but it would honestly be a very tough call to do anything about that there.
The only thing that we could do would throw a Super Mega Death Rocket at the Baron pit, but even then they have no vision or understanding of how quick Noinips can get there, let alone do damage to the Baron itself, so it is, I feel, a better call for them to go for the Baron over the inhibitor. Would you agree?
In most situations, going for the inhibitor provides pressure to get the Baron, which is why typically teams might go for an inhibitor over the Baron. But when the Baron's pretty much guaranteed, then it's honestly a better call to go for the Baron. If you're not sure whether the team can catch you out, maybe jungler can steal it, then I'd say the inhibitor's better. But in this case, I would agree that the Baron's the better call, since it was so free.
Looking at the game itself right now, what do Aether need to do? Because that gold lead's starting to get closer to the hot red 10k, which means there's almost no way for you to come back. So
it's just so hard to do anything with all of the disengage, but a really good Gnar ult could help at least get a team fight in their favor, and then the Jinx just wailing on them for a significant period of time while the Janna keeps her alive would be about the only way I can see a team fight going in their favor at this point. Janna has to get burned.
Bishop in trouble here with 2 tanks wailing on him. As we have her right down to the bottom half. There's the Cosmic Radiance. It's going to be the damage. Daniela trying to get some good damage off. Now Barbie's Nori the focus, but it's not going to matter as the front line of Aether is getting ripped to pieces. And 3 kills at the snap of your fingers right there. Noinips looking to take even more turrets on this one.
4v3 in favor of Aether for most of that fight, but the Cosmic Radiance comes down, those 2 seconds come out, they can't do anything, the damage is still coming out from the Vladimir, from the Zaya during that time, and that gives plenty of time for their team to collapse. And
yeah, absolutely. Noinips might just be looking for the end here as well. Nexus turret number 1, the focus, does go down the second right afterwards. GVG does not give a care in the world as they're going for the Nexus on this one. A few more rockets to do nothing at all. And 25 minutes in, Noinips could convincingly take game 1 over Aether Esports.
yeah, the Jinx never really got to the point where she could actually do much in those team fights. Their defensive stats were just outscaling her aggressive stats.
Mm.
And that could have to do with the fact that her primary tree was inspiration, while her secondary tree was precision, giving her less attack speed, and also missing out on at least one of those more aggressive runes.
Definitely the case here. 5-1 and 4 on GVG's Trundle. 6-0-2 on Omen's Vladimir, and 007 James. Barbie's naughty Nips coming in hot on this Tarek pickup, keeping the perfect KDA. And let's exactly see how beautiful those KDAs and stats exactly are. AKA, let's head over to the stats pages. So, looking at the crowd control score, sitting up top, highest for the number actually is Reckless, sitting at 39 here. Even though he had a rough time in laning phase, to put it one way, 39 crowd control score, not bad at all.
Tarek's crowd control score is actually fairly low, surprising considering his stun there.
Yeah, a little interesting on that part. 0 coming in for Omen. No surprise here, actually. Doesn't have CC, so cannot have a crowd control score whatsoever. Scroll down to the damage as well. Winning out on the damage this match is...
Not much of a difference between the higher ones, but Vladimir ekes out that little bit.
Yeah, 11,000 coming in for Omen, and a few 10Ks on the board as well between Reckless, Daniela, and GVG in the house, both sitting at 10K in the matchup here. They did damage, but for some of them, they just didn't stay alive.
I believe overall, considering the Jarvan's up 1,000 on the Sejuani, that Aether may have actually done more damage. It just wasn't in the right spots.
I think this game was definitely a lot of control in the favor of Nips that just unfortunately wasn't there for Aether. The turrets weren't exactly a factor that made a big play for Aether, or at least the one that they were able to pick up. So walking into Game 2, I definitely feel a bit more of an objective-focused and control-stabilized match is what they might be looking for.
Definitely. A more control-focused comp versus an aggressive engaged comp would have dealt better with the Tarek ulti and the Vladimir W.
And if we look at the total damage to Tara, it's kind of surprising, I would say, that 4 members of Aether Esports dealt 0 damage to any turrets. Dway, the only one with any damage whatsoever, so that definitely speaks to how much control Nips had in the matchup that Aether Esports didn't really make any strides to have.
After Dway traded that first turret, or traded after the first turret was taken, you didn't really see any pressure on any turrets for the rest of the game.
Fortunately not out of Aether. Let's look at the last statistic that we'll be covering here, which will be the Vision. Some people love it, other people hate it, but sitting up top of Vision score is none other than Bishop, actually, sitting at 39. Actually, no, I lie. I tell you lies. That's all I tell you. 51. I cannot read numbers whatsoever. Coming out of Barcode in the jungle here.
The supports were fairly even. Jenna maybe placing a few more wards. But really, the jungler on the side of Naughty Nips provided a ton of vision that allowed their team to be prepared for ganks and not let that happen.
Definitely some numbers that I'm liking. So would the Army Overward himself like as well. 22 out of Barber's Naughty and 30 in a 25-minute match out of Barcode on this jungle pickup here. That is more wards per minute than there are actual game minutes. That's good. That's
amazing.
Really good. That is really good stuff. Even the control wards, 7 control wards. I like this. I like it a lot.
It's a lot of gold spent on control wards, but keeping them alive, as you saw throughout the whole game, was critical. So I'd have to give most of their lack of deaths to those control wards, keeping their laners alive.
Exactly. Convincing, strong victory for Nips. Will they be able to keep it up and make the double down happen and the 2-0, or will Aether Esports be able to rebound from this loss? And here tying it up 1-1 against one of the higher up teams for sure. We'll find out and see you then.
See you for game 2.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Esports Noni Nips versus Aether Esports matchup. Headed into Game 2 here. How are we feeling, Aquatic Dark?
Feeling pretty good. That first game was very interesting. Pretty much one-sided towards NN. So, looking for hopefully a turnaround to make this more of an interesting series.
What ban should we expect out of Aether after that loss?
I think the Vladimir was a very good pick for Omen. So I expect to see it gone. And the Trundle also was very hard for Dewey to deal with. So unless he has a counter he can pull out, I also expect that. So far, looking at a Zoe and Sejuani ban, neither of which I would say are particularly shocking. Same one, but we'll hopefully see that Vladimir ban on the table here because it was a really strong performance out of Omen on the pickup in the mid lane. The Sejuani definitely makes sense because of all the picks that happened in Game 1. It was just too difficult to deal with that CC and slows.
Ban the Taric away from Barbies. How do you feel about that?
So with the Sejuani gone and with the Taric gone, there's less CC and less defensive ability, so at least they won't have to deal with 2 seconds of complete invulnerability.
I find the ban interesting. I don't think it was worth banning. Barbies has other champions that she can play, and that kind of tells me that Aether is saying, we just want to kill you. We actually don't care. Maybe not we don't care. They definitely do want to be able to try this up 1-1, but their mindset after that type of defeat may be a little more geared towards we just want to kill Barbies, and then that's our victory right there.
Oftentimes when teams go down 1, they either play really defensive and turtle up, or they just say, play what you want to, and then end up with a whole bunch of hyper carries or champions that usually just go on their own versus work well in a team fight.
This time at GVG in the house, presumably for Barcode, but it could change for GVG himself, picks up the Jarvan and a Tristana pickup as well.
Tristana fills a similar role to Xayah, with the AoE explosion from the bomb, and also again provides disengage with the ulti, so a bit safer pick with the W and the ulti in the bot lane.
Fair enough. We see on the side of Aether Esports, Kayn and Veigar picked up. Very different from what we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, we're no longer, assuming that Veigar is mid lane, we're no longer looking at just a pure control mage. While he does bring some of the CC with the event horizon, he's also looking to execute someone with the ult.
You were saying how it was a problem for them. They didn't listen to you. I think that might come back to haunt them as Omen's picked up the Vladimir once again in the mid lane.
Yeah, and this time with the Jarvan, they're looking to be a bit more proactive, so having a mid laner who can be self-sustaining with the W and with the ult and with the Q is honestly a really good pick.
Absolutely. And they were very proactive with the Sejuani alone, so Jarvan, a champion actually built for proactivity. We'll see how active that mid lane becomes. But Jinx is banned now. Is that a bad thing on Aether? Should have they picked the Jinx earlier, or nah?
The Jinx didn't have an amazing performance Game 1. I feel like there's still Twitch, there's still Kog'Maw, so there's still those hyper carries. And I also think they're looking more towards something like a Vayne in this scenario because they have the Kayn who's the assassin, because they have the Veigar who has the event horizon. Something doesn't necessarily have to be front to back. So I'm thinking they're looking for something more like a Vayne.
Okay. Nasus? What? Okay. I mean, that's the complete. I don't understand that the reason behind that ban. I mean, do you think that alludes to anything that they want to pick?
The only thing I can imagine is they didn't want the Veigar and Nasus to be on the same team and lose late game to just straight scaling. That's the only thing I can imagine for that ban.
Because I don't like that ban at all. I mean, I don't think there's any pick that justifies it unless they plan on going a tank in the top lane like Shen's ban, I'm not sure. I don't like it. I feel like there's definitely a better ban like Vayne away from Daniela, another one of our strong AD carries, and as we can see, Daniela is one of the performers on this team that you might actually have to actively worry about on Aether Esports. The Nasus ban I'm not a fan of at all. Ooh, well, either way it's going to be the Misfortune lock-in, and without knowing what their last pick is, what do we feel about this comp? At least now we're about to know, so...
The Vygar Misfortune's a good combination, as the Vygar, if he can trap multiple people in his event horizon, the bullet time can come down, and because they're trapped inside that event horizon, they can get a lot more damage than typical.
On the last second Kled lock-in for Dway, Aether Esports very much on their comfort picks here. Bishop having his Thresh that he has, I've heard from him vocally how he believes that is one of his best champions. See how it turns out for Aether Esports. Now on their comfort picks. Oh my.
Now going back to the Nasus ban. Nasus versus Malphite. Nasus is pretty safe. Especially considering Malphite's ult burst combo isn't usually enough to kill the Nasus. Still though, you have to wonder if there might have been a better ban there.
Yeah, you do, and I don't think, I mean, do you feel like anything that Aether have right now would have been able to, be foreseen or worth banning ahead of time instead of the Nasus?
I think they would have gone with the Vayne ban, probably, if not for the Nasus, and then Misfortune would have been picked up anyway. Perhaps Kled, but since Kled hasn't been played much in this tournament or by Dway so far, I don't see them predicting that. So honestly, it's not too much of a loss.
Alright, well, so we finally get out of spectator delay for no surprises whatsoever. What are we feeling about the comps? I think me and both of you are going to share a very similar opinion on whose comp we like more, but who do you like more?
I'm really leaning heavily towards NN's comp. While AE has a Wombo combo, they also don't really have much of a front line aside from Kled. Thresh can do some tanking. If they get ahead early, if Kayn gets ahead and Misfortune gets ahead, I feel AE could pick up a win here. But as far as just team comp synergy, I feel like NN has a better team comp.
Yeah, I'm gonna wholeheartedly agree with that. I think that their team comp's absolutely disgusting. They have the Jarvan Cataclysm to lock people up. They have the Nami Tidal Wave to follow that up. They have GVG in the house on Malphite. Like, you couldn't ask for more, and while all that madness is happening, you have Tristana champion with self-peel. Okay, self-peel. She can buster shot anyone away, like the Kayn or Kled, for example, and she can just rocket jump as well. So unless we're talking about a severely mistimed or severely well-timed Umbral Trespass, Tristana, whatever can go on there, I think Bloodshot's safe this game, and...
And Vladimir's W can go underneath Vygar event horizon, as it is not actual terrain, it is only a spell. So even if they do land the Wombo combo, Vladimir W's out, he's safe. Malphite's usually tanky enough. Tristana can't really get out, but there's definitely going to be a very, very high skill level involved for them to be able to trap them in a Vygar event horizon and then chain that with a Misfortune Kled ult.
Yeah, and while I think in the early game, in mid and late game, no Nips have it hand down, unless they screw it up early game. Because I feel like early game is what Aether's looking at, mainly in the bottom lane here. You are now on a proactive support Thresh. You're no longer playing what you were playing last game. That, well, didn't bear the greatest of results, to put it one way. You're now on Thresh, and your support enemy is a Nami. If we're talking about Barber's only picking up our first death here, it's the catch of the day, quite literally for Bishop.
Yeah, that fish down in bot lane might turn out for the worse, especially if Misfortune gets ahead, as team fights with Kled tend to get messy, and the team can pile in so fast with the Kled ulti that if Misfortune's ahead, that could be a deal breaker for the win by NN.
Definitely the case, but what I'm feeling is, at least in the bottom lane matchup early on, I'm definitely thinking that Aether Esports are actually in favor of this, because Well, we don't see it all the time. Double Up is a very powerful ability, even at level 1. And as you start to get some AD, if you're able to make the Double Up, double up and hit someone through that little skill shot work that it has, it does a lot of damage. We're talking about half your HP right here. So if Danielle's able to work this Misfortune pick out successful enough, along with the zone that's likely going to be coming out of Bishop on this Thresh pick, I do feel that the bot lane does heavily go in favor of Aether Esports.
Nami has some sustain, but if you're landing double up, she can only do so much. Her heal isn't that powerful. It'll really come down to if Thresh can land some good hooks, chained with the Misfortune slow, make it rain. It could be very, very difficult for NN to do much in that bot lane with the damage and the CC.
Yeah, what? I mean, this is just really interesting. First off, I never see this keystone. What's the name of it? Snowflake?
It's Glacial Augment, I believe.
Okay, Glacial Augment. I knew Glacial something. Okay, so first they have on the AD carry, now they have on the support. What are your thoughts on this Glacial Augment?
Again, it would be to keep them in range of the Misfortune. That's the only thing I can imagine. But Thresh already has his Flay. He already has his slow. You're doubling that up on top of it. I'm not sure if that's just better used by something like Spellbook for maybe flash hooks, or something like Guardian.
Maybe?
Yeah,
Guardian.
To keep her more protected.
Because here's the thing, as a novice to the Glacial Augment and the Glacial Augmenters, I don't exactly get the appeal of it, but I know what Thresh does. We all know what Thresh does. He lands a hook, goes in, either not goes in and lands the flank. That's more than enough CC here. Have I overlooked something where Glacial Augment just makes Thresh have a 5-second hook, or is this just overkill?
Considering he also has the box on top of the hook flay, it's very unlikely that in a situation where you're getting a kill, at least past level 6, you wouldn't be just using the box for the slow. You can auto attack them in lane to get extra harass damage if that's something they're looking to do, allowing the MF to actually get in range for auto attacks. But nah, honestly, I would feel that it's just overkill on the Thresh.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm not feeling with the Glacial Augment. I think in some circumstances on some champions it has its place.
A perfect example of that would be Aurelion Sol. I feel like Aurelion Sol uses it very well, as it allows him to land more of his passive on them, and that creates opportunities for damage. But on Thresh, considering he already, in order to use it very effectively, he has to already land his CC. A little bit of trading in the top lane. I think it's just not the best. I feel like Guardian would be a much better choice.
As I would agree, but Bishop would like to have a word with us on that one. We'll see exactly how well the Glacial Augment Thresh works in the laning phase, because as I highlighted earlier, that's what they have to work off of. They need to get ahead in these lanes, because I feel, maybe for mid lane, you could go neutral, just stack up Veigar Qs all day, and then, late game comes, you have 1000 AP, literally, and you just start blowing people up. I think in that regard, you can go even in the mid lane. But I feel for the top lane, you gotta be proactive on the Kled, otherwise he's significantly watered down by what a Kled can do. And even in the bottom lane, this is your winning lane here, right? This is what you want to shut down. You want to kill Barbie's Nona, you don't want to let her have the perfect split, so they have to be proactive down here.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see Kayn trying to make his way down bot lane, because while
there's the level 2! Death Sentence not gonna land! Not today.
While the Tristana does have her self-peel, the Nami, aside from Bubble, at least pre-level 6, can't do much. So I would really like to see the Kayn make his way down bot lane, try and do something.
I feel that would be the case, and of course that's going to require Aether Esports to back up a little bit, because I think a tower dive at this stage is way too ambitious, and while we're with ambition, Bishop, not the greatest of front forwards with the Thresh, And while out with front forwards, the combo not landing onto Kane. The stun will, though, and the damage is surefire there as First Blood gets picked up by Barcode.
Kane is fairly weak before he can turn into either Rost or Shadow Assassin, so that's not surprising that he would lose that right there, even despite the Vigar landing the event horizon.
Really squishy. Really squishy in the Kane pickup here. A little bit more notorious for his damage when he does get one of those evolutions. But Jarvan, a much more durable jungler at all stages of the game.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
This bottom lane is very much the focus, and if we're gonna imagine some situations here, that was a good vision. That was a good double up. However, imagine some situations in a pure 1v1 where the supports aren't there! Wait a second! There's a hook out of Bishop! Almost secures a kill. Whew.
Tristana's W allows her to get out of sticky situations like that.
You know, both junglers hovering down there. I think I'll be able to get what I want to get in time. Imagine, oh, maybe not, this top lane. GVG doing it, some action in the bottom lane. Looks like the combo was not able to land at a Barcode. Now the damage, Dewey looking for a kill on a GVG, and the rock is just a rock. It's dead, and Dewey picks up the solo kill.
And that's really good for the Kled, because he really needs to start snowballing, because his ult is AE's way into a team fight most of the time, aside from a catch with a Vigar or a catch with the Thresh.
Absolutely, and as I was trying to say, it's usually the color caster that gets cut off whenever they're doing something like that, but you know, just rewards for me, I suppose. In a situation where the supports don't exist, which AD carry would do better in a 1v1?
Assuming these champions picked up, I feel like the Tristana. Just because MF lands her Make It Rain, MF tries to land her ult. Assuming there's no CC to make that happen, missing their supports, honestly, Tristana can just W out of all of her damage. So honestly, I'd say the Tristana's better off in a 1v1.
I'd probably agree. I do feel that Tristana's got better 1v1, and unless there were any like preemptive double ups that made the HP low, I think that this is definitely in favor of Bloodshot. The top lane, though, looking much better for Dewey in the early game, even though he's not exactly up in CS. It's still a lane where he's got the kill over GBJ.
Indeed, that cannon plus 3 casters in addition to the 5 CS advantage he already had definitely puts him up a bit CS in this early game.
GVG going in for the control ward. Gets a bit better after the trade, roughly.
Malphite's about to hit level 6. There we go.
There we go. Don't imagine him going in anytime soon, though. But does have that unstoppable force for sometime in the future.
Jarvan looks like he's making his way up here, maybe?
Possible option to go for it. Let's talk Mountain Dragons for another time. Just around the last time in Game 1 we were talking about a Mountain Dragon. Do we feel like Aether or Noinips is going to take it?
I feel in this case Jarvan definitely has the jungle priority over Kayn early game, as I was mentioning the difference before he actually reaches his evolution. So once again, I feel Naughty Nips will take the first dragon, but we'll see how that goes.
It's a good combat of Dewey looking for a solo kill onto GVG here. Maybe forced to use Unstoppable Force defensively. Ends up not going to, but has to back relatively soon.
Kled is at his most critical point against Malphite when he just gets dismounted from trading, as the burst combo from Malphite with his ult and his other abilities does actually provide quite a bit of kill potential.
Looking at the HP bar, about to get the remount pretty soon as well. So top lane definitely going in favor of Aether Esports. Look over towards the mid lane. While the CS lead has been acquired by Omen here, it is in favor of Reckless, I want to say. As I say, he gets jumped on, able to land the baby cage and get out safely, though.
And now top lane becomes this awkward position of Malphite had the HP advantage for a while he didn't have Scarl, but then Scarl comes back and the HP is completely in the favor of Kled.
Mm-hmm. Checking stock up of the items, GVG, a poor man on this Malphite with just a chain vest, not the greatest, but still something in terms of armor against the Kled. Hold on for a second, the hook not gonna land, the bubble will, Barbies follows it up beautifully, and just gonna be some damage onto Bishop.
The chain vest does indeed make sense though, because you do not want to be giving that Kled more kills in this fight, so just going defensive. I especially like the fact that he's going defensive over maybe, say, a full AP Malphite build.
Absolutely. Now in the mid lane, looks like Reckless forced a flash on point to not get trapped by that Jarvan Cataclysm. Aether Esports looking for what you were saying. They're going to go for the dive, maybe give Barbie's Naughty or Bloodshot their first death of the series. There's the flash hook and the bullet time. Bloodshot's going down this one. It's not going to be a trade kill as the stopwatch looks good for sure.
That's really good getting that kill on MF. Getting those to the Kled and the MF fed is really, really good for this team. And I'm really glad to see the Kayn make that gank down bot lane. Little Nami can do to disengage if the Thresh lands the hook.
Absolutely. Flash hook coming in from Bishop, secures the kill for his team. And now that knowing Nips though, they're on the dragon, this could be a little dangerous. It's a weird 2v2 that could extend further, but Barbie's Naughties will be able to get the kill onto Bishop right there. A kill for herself on the board. Back to another 2v2. Omen's now in the mid lane, there to interrupt away. There's the combo, looking to give Barbie's her first death of this one. Umble Trespass to come through. She will be going down here. Dwayne right on top of her. There's the exhaust. Barbie's Naughty looks like she just might have gotten out again, and Omen picks up the double kill. Aether Esports' plan crumbles in front of them, and Barbies keeps the perfect KDA.
The Vladimir did amazing that fight at staying alive and pumping out a ton of damage. TP used to answer the Malphite, continuously pushing top lane. We saw a similar scenario last game where one of the top laners TP'd out and got an advantage in the lane while the other continuously pushed.
Yeah, while we're looking at advantages, there is exactly 15 HP on the top lane turret for Aether Esports. That's going to be going down very soon.
Jarvan makes one roam top lane, and I expect to see that drop down.
Oh, auto it. Literally just sneak in. Sneak in, don't let him see it. EQ for the wall, auto attack, and there's your gank. Because that turret has now become a false sense of security. Like, it is not safe. It's not a turret. It's not going to get any shots of it. It's not going to do any damage. So I feel really worried for Dwayne in the top lane right now.
And that Scarl is living with the smallest of health margins, and you see it right there.
Unstoppable force not landing, but the combo at a barcode will absolutely. GBG wonks the top lane turret, picks it up for the first turret for Noinips. Now in the bottom lane, Aether Esports do have priority. Barbie's Naughty looking around, trying to do something. A little bit of a sticky spot she might be in. There's the tidal wave and the damage on towards Kayn. It's not going to be enough to secure a kill, but now Omen's looking to create something happen here. Looking for the damage. More than enough onto Bishop. One more auto would do it. There's the Tide Caller's Blessing. Omen may just be looking for more now. Goes underneath the Tard with the ultimate. Kind of in a 1v3 right now. There's the bullet time. Stopwatch looks good. Event Horizon will be able to land the stun as the Control-Alt-Delete button will land out of Reckless. Another stopwatch to come through now. This time out of the Tristana, but it's a double kill for Reckless. There's the bubble and the flag that might just spell the end of the fight, as it's a 3-for-2 in favor of Naughty Naps.
Yeah, that fight was... The Vladimir was absolutely dictating the pace of that fight, but he dived a bit too far under turret and got himself deleted even when he tried to use the stopwatch to keep him safe, the Event Horizon came down on top of him. Just nothing he could do once he got that far into the enemy's territory.
Some strong rotational play coming out of Nonips. Omen rolling down at the right time, and now looks like Nonips are looking more objectively focused towards the mid lane, possibly, as bot lane hasn't merited much objective-wise.
The turret going down for Aether also opens up them... Sorry, Naughty Nips, my bad. Opens them up to more ganks from the Kayn, so that also is something to watch.
Definitely some better showings out of Aether Esports this game. 2-0 on iReckless, finally being on the up half, or at least being on the even half in a laning phase against Omen in this matchup. Same with top lane, looking a bit better. Barbie's Naughty, though, will be meeting her first death. It's gonna be done by the Kayn. The perfect KDA gets ruined. And now Bloodshot's gonna be meeting another death. Not even a kill going over to Aether. There it is, finally. Nonips cry on that one as Aether look possibly for the dragon or maybe the bottom lane.
Yeah, Bari is losing their first death, really. Just, there's very little you can do when the Kayn's on top of you as a squishy target. Decide to leave the dragon up and opt for going towards mid lane. Maybe pressure down that turret some more.
Indeed. This time, Barbies that's caught on the other end, unfortunately. However, the game as a whole, and while GVG, you couldn't keep your word, you couldn't protect her. Sounds like some bad anime so far. But if we're looking at the top lane, this looks like a bad duel. Fort away, Unstoppable Force yet to be used by GVG on this one. There it is. It's gonna do the work it needs to the flash away. Will it be enough to get away? Remounts just in time, but has no way. Actually, will be able to get out just barely. Not just yet. Another second to come through. Now Cataclysmed away. Finally goes down as Nonips piling of resources and towards it. There's the bullet time to follow right afterwards. It's only going to repel the members as the death sentence won't land either, as Nonips rotate on towards the top lane.
The Jarvan being 4-1-4 in this game has very, very relevant damage right now. And they have to be absolutely careful of letting him get onto anyone, even the Kled.
Absolutely. Sneaky GVG in the house, able to get away with the recall in the bush. And if we're looking at this, is a much more even game in comparison to what we saw in game 1. Neither team really making big moves to take too many turrets just yet. It's just a 1-2 in favor of Nonips slightly. What exactly do you want to see out of Aether for them to start getting the ball rolling?
The Vygar is going to continuously scale throughout the game. Really focus your Thresh box and your Vygar event horizon on lining them up for an MF ulti. That's the best way to get a really solid team fight. Honestly, a Kled initiation with the Thresh and Vygar coming close behind so they can get into that position where they can land their CC abilities would be the highlight play in my opinion.
Definitely sounds like a highlight play as they focus towards that Mountain Dragon. 17 minutes in, why are they... Oh. Okay, I'll do my best to overlook this one. I hate it when the Dragon stays up for too long, but that will be the case. As iReckless is forced to flash away in the middle lane. Omen doing some work here on the back half. Now on towards 2 members of Aether. That's going to be a kill on a Bishop. Won't be able to land the hook from the grave. Omen still doing work now with 2 more members on him. Buster Shot's gonna knock him away on this one. Now it might be Barcode in trouble as he jumps onto all of Aether, but gets deleted by iReckless, picking up his 3rd kill of the game.
That Vygar ult was very clutch. Had he landed it a second or 2 later, that team could have easily been eviscerated by the Jarvan. So making sure he died immediately was very key.
Definitely the case. Aether now going to be able to pick up or Nips, my bad, going to pick up their third turret of the game off of that play as GVG continues to whack down the top lane turret, but that's not going to go down anytime soon.
And considering that was a 4v5, that does not look too promising for the team fights of Aether.
No, it doesn't. It really makes you question what was the thought process of letting the Vladimir go through? Because if you look at the matchup, 0-3-0 on Bloodshot, not looking too good. Barbie's only 1-1-6. Well, first death kit had to come eventually for sure, so performing alright. Omen, though, 4-1-3 on this Vladimir pickup. Looking really good on it as well.
You have to question, when you know Omen plays Vladimir, unless you have a highly specific counter to it, which I don't feel either Vigar or... pause my brain, I can't figure out what he played last time. What Aether played against it last time, but I didn't feel like either of them were a specific counter to it. So honestly, if you know someone plays a champion and plays them a lot, it's good to either ban it or have a highly specific counter, which I did not see.
The Rift Herald going in favor of Nips here. The fight afterwards will want to be abandoned by Aether Esports. There's the stopwatch and the Zanyas to help get Reckless get out of that one. But will they just die together after that instead? Bullet Time's going to come flying through, get some good damage on a barcode. Now GVG in the front, all on his own, but the resources expended purely on him. Let's Omen do the work. Bloodshot jumps forward. The shutdown from Daniela's not going to mean anything as she goes down right afterwards. Now Reckless, the only target to kill left. The Control-Alt-Delete button's not going to do enough. A shutdown for Bloodshot. Maybe looking for him in this one. No, it won't happen. It's a 4-for-2 for Naughty Nips.
The Vladimir may have died in that fight, but the tides of blood damage from it just hurt so many of the members and brought them so low. It's just so hard when the Vladimir almost 1v4s as far as health bars go, the enemy team.
Definitely the case, and I feel a little too many resources expended towards GVG with that onboard trespass. Maybe not able to use it to anyone else on the time, but not exactly the ideal target that you want to be ripping through.
No, absolutely not. He just has too many stats that if Kane can't delete him, it's kind of irrelevant. And we don't see the Rost on Kane, so he's not looking for that extra healing value from ulting the tank either.
Absolutely. And while that fight definitely left a sour taste in Aether's mouth, there is still only 4,000 gold down, so this game is still realistically very turnable in their favor right now.
They just have to be careful of letting Naughty Nips get to their squishies on their backline. The Vigar is very important. The MS very important. The Kane can go on the backline pretty much by himself. He's self-sustaining. But the Kled and the Thresh have to really do their best to zone them off of their carries.
I'd agree.
Vigar is also I
have to really keep their backlane safe, and reading your mind on this one, Vagar is continuously dealing damage and providing CC in the backline, so they do have to get to him.
Yeah, Vigar, if he's left by himself, not only even right now is he pumping out a lot of damage, but as he continuously scales, he'll be continuously doing more and more damage. So as we scale into late game, we're looking at a Vigar able to completely decimate the Tristana, unlike last fight where he just was able to bring her low.
Currently sitting at 340 AP, as I just checked myself. Starting to get scary on this Vagar pickup, and this is only really a 2-item Vagar plus the Fiendish Codex, so that damage is going to get close to 400, 500 very soon as well, in fact.
Precisely. Good Event Horizon goes down.
Good Event Horizon, but GVG is well and on the way in the top lane, able to keep the pressure there for sure, which means a teleport unlikely out of Aether. Reckless, now with the greatest flash, and that's going to be the cue for Nips to punish them right afterwards. Omen's going to pick up that kill. Tidal Wave flying out. Bishop's not going to survive this one. The damage to come through. It will be the Kane doing good havoc in the back line. So far, it's a 1-4-3. Maybe looking more on a barcode. Not going to be able to make it happen. Barcode will get the shutdown. A 1-for-4 in favor of Nips. Once again, looking good in these team fights.
The Rift Herald being used there was really good because while they're doing that team fight, the Rift Herald continuously wails on that turret. They don't even have to be there to be continuously pushing their lead. I hate repeating the old tale over and over again, but Vladimir just continuously dealing insane amounts of teamfight damage.
And Aether not really having an answer to it in this game either. Sure, the Vega's performing pretty well, but if the team fights go like that, where GVG and Barcode just get a fly in and Omen gets to wait for the right opportunity, then it definitely goes in their favor.
Vladimir getting the backline is so hard to stop also because the Proto Belt, while in W form, he's untargetable. How do you see someone that's untargetable? It's actually crazy.
It's actually impossible, but yeah.
The only way to stop him would be with something like a Nivea wall where it was actual terrain. But as we see, we don't have any of those on the side of Aether Gaming.
Esports, but yes.
Esports.
Really, I have to say 9-Ips are... Well, Barbie's Noti is probably going to be crying after this one. She's met her first death, I think. Otherwise, they're playing very good in this matchup. And while it's not the 26-minute game that it was before, they're able to get these picks like this one and continue to start things rolling.
Both teams have a circle of you can't get out of this, but using them to pick off as far as that goes, Naughty Nips has been doing a much better job.
Warding is dangerous. I keep saying it, no one listens to me. They think, oh no, we'll just get the word out there. And warding's dangerous. Yeah, don't do it alone. So the Baron Asher, now the focus for Naughty Nips. Looks like it will go over in favor as well. Bullet Time's not going to get any steal today. There you go, Daniela is going out on this one. Omen, just like you said, can go right underneath the baby cage. Not give a single care in the world about it. And then there's one more kill. And one more advantage for Naughty Nips so far.
Yep. Picks happening one after the other. And that's another 30, 45 seconds that a team member isn't there, and it's a 5v4.
They might just be looking more underneath the turret. Not going to go for it. Cataclysm on cooldown. So Barcode doesn't get to make that play just yet. Nether inhibited the focus. Van Horizon thrown down, and now he goes for the play. The stopwatch does look good, though, which means he'll be able to get out away from Barcode. Omen might be a different story, though. Death Sentence will land onto him as a good bullet time comes flying through, but the 3-man tidal wave will be able to repel Aether, and mean Dway will not be able to get enough accomplished in the bot lane. They'll give Barbies a second death, but there's a triple kill for GVG on this Malphite here. And while they couldn't say that they have the support with the perfect KD anymore, they absolutely can say that they are one of the top teams as 9-Ips will complete the 2-0 over Aether Esports.
Amazing series, especially the play on Vladimir. Just 1v4 zoning off the enemy team on the Baron, completely preventing them from being able to do something. In fact, getting a kill while that's going on.
Definitely some great stuff coming out of 9-Ips. Both games are on the same length as well, 26, 27-ish minutes, making sure that they know how to close out the games, and that's going to propel them to, I believe, 7 points now, putting them up in the top 3, I believe, with the exception of a few ties here and there, possibly, but top 3 team 9-Ips for sure. You heard it on the round table, you're hearing it here as well. Excellent stuff coming out of this team.
I'm very impressed with their play all around. GVG, despite getting behind slightly in the early game, ended up actually being quite far ahead in the late game. Cledden never actually able to take his slight advantage and turn it into team fight potential or even a larger lead.
Absolutely. Let's look at some of those statistics to see exactly how 9-Ips were able to make the magic happen. So, the highest crowd control score... Actually, wait. I'm thinking for a sec. Wait, how does Omen have a crowd control score? What? Is that a Protobelt, I think? Must be the Protobelt.
It must have been a slow for something.
Oh, yeah, Sanguine Pool.
Buff?
Okay.
Sanguine Pool, yes.
Okay. I completely forgot I did that. It does slow. Okay, excellent. So, Omen getting something on the crowd control score this time around. But at the top of the top is actually a tie between Barbie's Nori and Bishop. Not bad at all.
No, completely tied. Vigar also right behind them. The CC score for the rest of the team actually balancing out, except for the MF, who actually had quite a high CC score, considering she doesn't have any hard CC.
Definitely the case here. Looking at the total damage to champions, it's going to be a strong 21k coming out for Omen, once again at the top of the damage stats.
Impressive performance, yeah. When he gets in the backline and his Tides of Blood hit 4 members, it's an AoE effect, so he's going to be racking up those damage numbers.
Definitely the case. Sitting behind that is nowhere too mentionable. 1.6k coming out of Daniela. Not too bad when it comes to damage, but the cards just weren't there for Aether Esports.
Yeah, a lot of those bullet times just landed on a lot of full health members or at least half health members, never really getting those executes with the bullet time. Giving her a high damage score, but little kills to show for it.
Definitely the case. Let's go down to the damage healed, which I'm quite interested in here. Once again, Omen at the top at a 12k, making good use of that Vladimir, and behind it is Barbie's Nodi sitting at 1.1.
Yeah, both of those, just even if Aether had put out more damage, it just would have been healed away, making it very hard for them to do anything.
Definitely the case here. Looking at the vision score, not bad. 77 coming in for Bishop. It might have killed him in doing the process, but he does have the highest vision score in the game here, and also 46 wards placed. Not so bad at all.
Highest control ward score, definitely trying to keep that up. 3 above the enemy support. However, if we look in the jungle area, 8 control wards purchased by Jarvan versus the 0 control wards purchased by Kayn, creating a massive difference there in number of control wards out on the map.
Definitely the case. Some interesting stuff coming out of these teams, though, but it's Noyanips that are able to seal the deal here. And I think it's about that time. You know what that time is?
What's that time?
Where we say the one this person we will be on the interview. So who are you feeling?
I'm feeling the one who really deserves to be interviewed is, honestly, I want to go with Barcode, because while Omen did have amazing performances in the mid lane on his Vladimir, especially that Sejuani game, being so proactive and honestly creating that lead in the early game for Naughty Nips in the early, was honestly the amazing Sejuani play, and also the warding control from the first game.
You know, I'm actually going to agree with you on this. I feel like Barcode definitely played very strong in the matchup here, and while some notable for performances out of Barbie's Nodi, GVG in the house, and the rest of Nips as a whole, really, I do feel like the Barcode, definitely gets to bask himself in the spotlight this time around. So, we know what that means.
Yes, we do.
Means the man behind the camera, X-Dawn, if he would ever so kindly pop Barcode up in here in the Caster's Lounge, then we can have an interview on our hands. Welcome, my friend.
Hello.
All right, Barcode coming out with a 2-0 convincingly in both games against Aether Esports. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great. It's pretty clean wins.
Pretty clean wins indeed. I have a question I want to toss to you here. Both of Sejuani and Jarvan, both really good champions, both really strong performances on them. Were you expecting the games to go as cleanly as they did?
In a way. I didn't think they'd go that clean, but I knew if I just bought a bunch of pinks and my vision score is always good, I could always just catch out people with Sejuani ult, or just catch out people out of position.
In addition to that, with those control wards, were you expecting to be highly proactive in the early game, especially on the Sejuani game, Or were you expecting to sit back more and just the control wars caught people out, so you went for those?
I didn't think I'd be as proactive. I think I was just gonna farm and every lane just played pretty safe. But I think the control wards helped quite a bit with me catching out people.
Definitely some good stuff coming out of you and your team here. Looking at your matchups so far, they've been very clean, they've been very strong, and very convincing above all else. Do you feel that with yourself and Noinips being able to carry this momentum into the next few weeks?
Yeah. Sorry, I sounded kind of sarcastic, but yeah, I think we can, for sure. Easily.
Good.
I think easily, if we just keep it like how we're playing, I think we can easily be, the best team.
I like the sound of that. Is there any team that you kind of fear or show a little bit more respect towards over the others, though? Nah.
No, not really.
All right, Noinips looking to be at the top of the table, and they know that they can be at the top of the table. Joining me in this splendidly beautiful interview was Barcode, doors on the left. All right. I think that gets us to our final segue, my friend.
Indeed,
this was an awesome set of games to be able to cast. Noinips coming out with the 2-0. So, joining me on the casting desk as the color.
Aquatic Dark, nice to be here, and I enjoyed this quite a bit, and hope to cast some more fun games in the future.
Absolutely. The man behind the camera that you'll get to hear a single word of. Okay, that's X-Stone right there. Great streaming quality, as always, out of none other than the Do Esports streamer himself. And I was your play-by-play caster that needs to brush up on his Vladimir abilities to know if they have crowd control or not. And host of the show as well, Blaze. It was excellent having you, and we'll be seeing you in week 4.
Have a good night.